Welcome back, my boy, my brother from light years, one of the greatest podcasts on planet Earth, my boy, Sam Esfandiari. What's going on, brother?
I don't know about that. I think Andy and I are washed, to be honest. But, just in line with the Warriors, a bunch of geriatric millennials trying to get one last ride off.
Let's get right into it, man. And I want to ask you, is it facts or is it feelings? The Warriors are back, baby.
I want it to be facts, but I think it might be feelings. I don't know. They needed to do something, though. You got to admit, the Jimmy trade finally added a little juice to this team. Like, they were a sad watch prior to this. Like, because you knew it was going nowhere. It's kind of been going nowhere for 2 years with the same roster. Now you're injecting a legitimate all-star level talent. He can still play at that level, a wild card. I don't know where this is going, to be honest, but I want to see. It's actually fun to watch Warrior games again.
I think that's the main difference for me, is that the fun quotient has been upped like exponentially by bringing Jimmy aboard. And I think Steph deserves it. Like, I'm sorry, your little youth movement and two-track nonsense, it didn't work. Why don't we maximize the last few years of greatness from the single greatest athlete probably in the history of the Bay, if we're being honest here, and, reward this guy for his stewardship of the franchise with some real fucking players.
I got in an argument with our guy. I said, I don't know, it might be Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds might still be there.
Yeah. Steph's not a better player than Barry Bonds' baseball player. That's
a different topic. Topic. We don't need to go there. No, you're right. You're right. Like, Steph's still playing at a very high level. He was just dragging a bunch of role players to 500. That's what they were doing. Him and Jimmy, like, I don't know where this is going to go. I could see them upsetting OKC in round one, or I could see it flaming out the opposite way. But the point is, I don't know. And I'm kind of interested to see where it goes. Whereas, I don't know if I would have watched Warrior games if I wasn't, diehard and local. Like, I would not tell anyone to watch them based on what was going on the last couple of months. And now at least you got something to watch.
So what would be the sort of counter argument to making a move that's not necessarily all in? I don't think this is an all in move, but it's definitely like, all right, let's shake things up culturally. What would be the sort of argument against this? Because I personally don't see any of them. I didn't understand why the Lakers were sitting on their freaking hands and Mike Dunleavy Jr. was pretending his phone don't work.
I mean, I feel like you really only had two choices. You make a move like this and you see if you got one run in you, or you got to start entertaining trading stuff. And you got to start entertaining the concept of, we're screwed, we're going nowhere. If anything, we're just going to make it worse. We're going to look like the Phoenix Suns, where we're going nowhere and we have no picks for a decade, right? Like something like that. So maybe we should trade number 30, let him go, have his Tom Brady, Tampa Bay years somewhere else, and get that jump start on a rebuild. Those are really your only two options. And I think, no, you're never going to get me to say they should trade Steph. Like, I don't think you get anyone to say that around here. So they went with the one that was clearly the smarter play.
Yeah, I think if you are some soulless quant, and you look at basketball strictly in terms of spreadsheets, I think the most logical thing for the Warriors to do, if you're one of those people, obviously, which we are not, would be to trade Steph and Draymond for as much as you could get right now. And I bet you could get a nice package for Steph Curry right now. But like, in the reality of, this is a people business. This is a asses in the seats business. Like, yeah, those Golden State Warriors tickets ain't cheap, and you have to justify these prices to people, and the idea that you would just do this complete teardown after Steph has made your franchise basically the most valuable one in the sport just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Even if you're some crazy, sitting at your freaking keyboard and crunching numbers.
You're looking at, like, it's not the same thing, but look at how Dallas is reacting to Luka being traded. Yes. Now imagine if Luka was 10 years older and won you 4 chips. Like, the Warriors are going to cash in on Steph Curry residuals post-retirement until I die. He's going to get a statue out front. They're going to be making a killing off of him. If you don't get to optimize like 2025 through 28 in a soulless way on a spreadsheet, it's worth it. He is worth it. He's given you enough. So I don't even think there's an argument to go down that route. There would be an argument to go down that route if he was, a guy you signed in free agency. You've been there 7 years. You love him. Like if he was KG on the Celtics.
Anthony Davis or something. Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, all right, cool. Exactly. We want to chip with you, AD, and like
you're always going to be loved here. But you're not getting a statue out front.
No, no, not at all. Yeah. And man, it's so funny you should say that, because I think, to me, Steph is the most important figure here. Like, I really have grown in my appreciation for Steph, just not just the on-court. Like, I always obviously thought he was a killer, but like an appreciation for his style of leadership. And I say this because I think it was Slater's report about the trade, about the Jimmy trade, which we will get into shortly after. But they were like, yo, Steph has told him he doesn't want to be some like, yo, consult with me about trades and like move this person or whatever, because he said it undermines his ability to lead his teammates. And I was like, that is so fucking insightful, smart, so Steph Curry. But at the same time, it's why these fucking people could take their sweet time in making a better team around Steph, is that he wasn't going to make a stink of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, isn't it like damned if you do, damned if you don't? Because like the classic argument is like, oh, which approach is better, Steph's approach or LeBron's approach? Yeah. And the reality is I've seen them both have success and both get burnt. Yeah. And they're both sitting at 4 chips. So I don't know that it's better. I've come to the conclusion, end of the day, it's down to your front office, man. You have a generational player fall into your lap. Each of them have their own idiosyncrasies, but 29 other GMs would kill for the opportunity to figure it out with one of those guys. So yeah, I don't even buy that one approach is better than the other. I just think it is what it is.
So let's get into Jimmy of it, because I want to know where you were at in the 3 stages of the Jimmy thing. So there's a stage of Jimmy's on the trade block, right? And the Warriors are allegedly trying to upgrade. Were you immediately like, let's get Jimmy? Were you into other candidates? Where were you at when Jimmy's on the block and the Warriors are kind of a player?
I mean, this is where my bias is going to come in. Like, Miami Jimmy was one of my favorite players in the league. God, yeah. You see him perform in big moments. Like, the Warriors went after Paul George. Paul George is probably more talented than Jimmy, just more skilled, can do more things. Not even a question who I'd rather have in a big game, right? Like, it is what it is. I don't think that's a hot take at all. I was all in because he felt like the most achievable to everyone's agenda coming through. Like, you knew how he was going to handle his trade request because he's shown us in the past. He'll make it toxic. The odds were, because of his age, contract dispute, and personality, he was not going to get moved for a crazy package. And I know the Warriors were like the 2 timeline politics, we don't want to trade too much, that sort of thing. Like, it just always felt more realistic to me than like Lowry Markkanen, who, like, sure, it'd be nice to have someone who's 27 and not 35, but you're dealing with Danny Ainge. Yeah. He's getting every last dollar out of you. It's not going to happen. So I wanted this the whole way through. This always felt like the most realistic, like, if you're going to get a quote unquote star caliber player.
I think a lot of people were down on the quote unquote fit. And like, I wanted you to break down the fit in both ways, both like personnel wise, the old
Sure.
Draymond, blah, 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 and also Steve Kerr of it all. And as much as I've been a Steve apologist basically from the beginning of when things started going a little bit left for the Warriors, I'm just like, yo, this guy's got a proven method. And I think, his instinct to have a more egalitarian style for the team ultimately serves everybody best. But I can understand why impatience with Steve's Zen sort of woo-wee ass California philosophy California philosophy can grate on people. What do you think about the team fit and the Kerr fit?
I think the personality fit, it's exactly what they needed. They just needed someone who had gravitas, confidence, walks in there, isn't afraid. I mean, you could see Steph and Draymond kind of quiet quitting on the team. I've been hearing about Steph's. I haven't heard about his tendonitis since the injury. You know what I mean? Like, knee looks fine. First Jimmy game, he looks like it's 2016, 3 crossovers, 35-footer, knee felt better. But I kind of get it from their perspective. Draymond said it. He's like, I know when we have enough and when we don't. And the past month plus, you could see Draymond and Steph were doing the whole I just don't want to get injured. They're going through the motions, that sort of thing. It was sad. People are out here
Draymond's not capable of trying for nothing. Draymond has to feel like there's
4 G leaguers.
There has to be stakes involved for Draymond to give it his full Draymond.
And so, Jimmy comes in and Jimmy carries himself like he's a star. And I think that's necessary. I also think the way he plays basketball, the lack of shooting is the most obvious thing where people are like, oh, how's he going to work with Draymond? But I would argue the way he reads the game, he is a team guy. He's not really a scorer by default. He's always looking to make an assist first.
Hell yeah.
That fits what the Warriors want to do. He's much happier getting an 18-point triple-double than going for 40.
Yep.
So I think the fact that he's wired to see the game the way that they do, his first game, he passed up 10 open shots to pass to, Buddy Hield, Quentin Post, Moses, and it's just I have a feeling in the playoffs he'll figure out I need to take that shot, that sort of thing. But a lot of it's that's just the way he plays the game. He tries to feel everyone out, get everyone going, get everyone involved. So I think the fit's good on that standpoint. What it does do, and what I think is probably the most interesting thing, is it puts a lot of stress on the other 2 guys around him. You kind of have to have really specific role player fits to make those 3 work, because Jimmy doesn't shoot threes, because Draymond doesn't really shoot the ball, because of the things that those guys do.
Got you. And, Kerr is, we all remember the Andy Varejao minutes, right? We all know Steve's philosophy about the game, which I think fits into Jimmy's actual game. But I wonder about all right, man, I'm already managing Draymond, and we've been married long enough that it's I can manage it now. To me, it feels like Steve kind of probably didn't. The reason why this didn't happen sooner is just Steve is just oh my God, another Draymond up here?
Probably. I mean, he really falls in love with his role player guys. He loved Wiggins, loves Looney, GP2, culture guys, good locker, don't rock the boat, show up, work their ass off. And to a degree, I get it. No one likes working with an asshole. Sure. But, at the same time, it's the job, right? I think the funniest thing was the night of the trade, Steve, he looked like someone in his family was about to pass. He's talking about how Wiggins is a beautiful soul. He's going to be missed.
I saw that. You would have thought Andrew Wiggins was basically a saint, an angel on earth, the way he was talking about him.
And then they play the Bulls the next game, and it was just a perfect example of what they were missing and what Jimmy Butler brought, which was they were down 20 and they were tough enough and gritty enough to, fight back and win that game. And you see Steve Kerr post game just beaming, smiling, talking about, oh, we haven't had this in a while, like, oh, he brought a present. So just kind of like the classic, and that's why I say it's the front office, man. Like, he wants to win games. You put guys who win, you put winners, he's gonna love them. It's the reason Draymond's still on the team, even though Draymond's done maniac. How many inexcusable things has Draymond done?
Fireable offenses? Yeah. Like,
and then he comes back. And then he comes back and plays the game in the way like only a handful of players can. And Steve forgives him because he's a coach and he's like, I can't win without that guy. I need him. So that's kind of how I see the Jimmy thing went. He lost one of his favorite players. He's one game of this new guy. He's like, okay, I get it.
All right, so I'm going to get you out of here on this. In your dream scenario for the season to end, what happens?
My dream scenario is because they're not going to get above 6. In all likelihood, 7-8 is their best case scenario. So, 1, they get out of the play-in. Fun fact, they've never got out of the play-in. And honestly, I think they could pull a first-round upset of any of the top 4 teams other than Denver. Wouldn't want to see Denver. But all the other ones,
the Jokic thing is problematic for the Dubs.
All the other ones, they're young. OKC, Houston lose a game on their home court to like a veteran team with Steph, Draymond, and they match up well with those teams. Like, I'm not saying it is going to happen, but there is the potential. I would consider that best case scenario. I don't think they have enough to do much more than that as a best case scenario. But if they do that, then you enter the offseason with a little juice. Maybe you get that shooting guard upgrade.
Improve like right around the edges,
Yeah, and then, because that's what's going to sink them more than anything. Maybe Jimmy has like 2023 Miami playoff run in him, but like they don't really have a 2 or a 5.
Got
you. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like stuff that could be figured out in an off-season type of thing. So that would be my dream scenario. Do something, pull an upset, and then put the pressure on the front office to be like, if we get the right shooting guard next to these guys, like we'll go get DeAnthony Melton or someone like that back, then we could be scary next year.
Love that. All right, man. My guy, Sam Esfandiari, Light Years Podcast. Thank you for coming on with us, brother.
Appreciate you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was our show for today. Make sure you subscribe to the Ringers YouTube page, man. Make sure you subscribe to the Ringer Movies, Ringer TV, man, the Bill Simmons YouTube. And, of course, hit the notification bell so that you're notified every single time In My Feelings drops. We'll see you next time. Peace.